Hello my little art friends, welcome to another exciting Photoshop tutorial. Today we're going to make this very simple to do, easy peasy, shiny table banana. It looks like a banana sitting on a shiny table, and it's a good little tutorial because it teaches you a couple little tools. So let's get started right away. You know what to do. Go to the Art of South Bee, find that banana image, open that banana image, download that banana image, open up Photoshop, open that banana image in Photoshop, and when you are there, we'll get started. So I'll just wait right here until you do all that. All right, ready? Great. Now, so we have this banana image, and it is on a background layer. And it has a shadow, and it has a white background. And I do not want the white background, I do not want the shadow, and I don't want it to be on a background because I want to be able to move it later. When it's on a background, there's not much you can do with it. It has to stay on the bottom. But when it's a layer, you can move the layer up and down and make new backgrounds. So that's what I want to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that white background. I don't want it. We'll get rid of the background layer. I don't want it. So I'm going to come over here where it says background, and I'm just going to double click on it. And you can see here it says new layer. And it's actually changing my layer to layer 0, because 0 is a perfectly good number. And I hit OK. And now my layer is not a background anymore, it is a layer, and I can move this up and down. I'll show you what I mean by that later on, it'll make more sense. If I turn off the eyeball, you can see it turns into that checkerboard. That means it's transparent, there's nothing there. So, great. The next thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this white background. Well, when we did the frog tutorial, we had the exact same situation, and we're just going to use the same tool. So we're going to come over here, we're going to select our magic wand tool, and we're just going to click on the white, and it's going to select all the white background, with the exception of this little bit of shadow, but we're going to get rid of that in another way in a minute. So I'm going to hit the backspace button on the keyboard, and that background is going to go away. I'm going to hit Control D, and I will get my move tool, and I will see that I have my banana sitting on a pretty good checkerboard invisible background, and it looks pretty good to me. The next thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this little bit of shadow, because all I want is the banana. So I'm going to do that using another tool we've used before, which is the polygonal lasso tool. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to set, by clicking the mouse, my polygonal lasso tool to start right along the banana. And then I'm going to move along the bottom of the banana, clicking each time I do. See? It's going to set the polygonal lasso tool. I think my dog's barking. Right along the bottom of that banana. There you go. Once I get past the banana, I can go fairly quickly, taking big jumps, clicking here, and I'm going to go a little slower just to get back to the beginning so that it selects that area. Great. Once I have that area selected, I'm pretty okay with that. I hit backspace on the keyboard, and it goes away. I hit deselect, and I have the banana with no background and no shadow. Great. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to duplicate this banana because I want to use the second image to create that bottom shine look, so the reflection on the table. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. I could probably hit Control A, Control C, and Control V for select all, copy, and paste. Or I could also come over here and to my layers palette, and I can click this little menu here, and you will see it says duplicate layer. And I'm just going to duplicate the layer, and it's going to tell me it's making a copy of it. Actually, I can change the name, because this will actually be layer 1. Or I could name it Banana Shine, the reflection. You can name it anything you want. It's good to name your layers, because if you start to get a lot of layers down here, it can get confusing as to what's on what's layer, even though you can kind of get a little glimpse by the little preview icon there. Anyway, I'm going to hit OK, and that is going to give me my second banana. Great. Now, this banana is going to be the reflection, so it needs to be flipped because it's a reflection, so it's got to be flipped down. It's facing the wrong way right now. So I'm going to do that by simply going to Edit. We've gone to Transform before also, but this time instead of scaling or rotating anything, we're going to come all the way down to the bottom where it says Flip Vertical, and we're going to click that, and this will just affect that one layer, which is good. There we go. And now I've got my banana reflection, and I can actually move it right down here. Perfect, just like that. Now, my next challenge is the banana's off the canvas. The canvas isn't big enough. I need to make the screen bigger. So how do I do that? Well, if I come up to image, you'd think it would be image size, but image size actually just changes the size of the image. So if this was 5 inches, and I want to change it bigger to 7 inches, it would make the bananas bigger, it would make everything bigger. But if I choose canvas size, it's only going to change the size of the canvas, not the images on the canvas. So that's what I want. Now, this right here is a little diagram of the canvas, and the dot represents the starting point. So right now, if I wanted to make this bigger, and the height here, it says is 8 inches, 8.3 inches, so I want to duplicate that. So I'm just going to do 16. It will make it 16 inches higher. It will make it 16 inches taller as well, and the bananas will be in the middle. And I kind of don't want that. I kind of want the bananas to be more towards the top. So if I just move that dot by clicking on this arrow, now the image will only get bigger towards the bottom. Isn't that neat? So it's going to duplicate its height. It's 8 inches height to 16 inches height, just making it 8 inches bigger on the bottom. Let me show you what I mean. Hit OK. Boom. I'm going to open that up so you can see it. You know what? I'm going to smallify this. I'm going to grab the magnifying glass. Up here is the bigify, smallify of the magnifying glass. I'm going to hit the small. I'm going to click one time. Now you can see the whole thing and everything I've done. Back to the move tool. So there's my shine. There's my top banana. But I don't have a bottom layer. It's this checkerboard thing, and I don't want that. I want that white background I talked about before. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add a new layer. I can do that simply by going to this little guy right here, clicking on it, and it makes a new layer. Now that layer is layer 2, and there's nothing on it. Well, I want there to be some color. I want the white background. So easy peasy. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look here. This is your colors of what you're painting with or you're using your fill bucket. The black right now is the foreground color, and the white is the background color. So if I was to use, let's say, the paintbrush, and I was to paint right now, it's going to paint in black because that's my foreground color. All right, we don't want that. We actually want it to be white. But there's this nifty little toggle thing right there, and I can click that. Oh, sorry, that's not what I'm trying to do. There we go. And it switches them. So the white is now the foreground, and the black is the background. And that works no matter what color you have here. The other way I could have done it is I could have clicked on that, which I just did, and I could have selected my color. Let's say I wanted it to be red. I would have selected red, and now it would be red. This guy, as I was hitting before, puts it back to black and white, and this guy flips it. So now I've got white. Nice. The next thing I want to do is I want to fill that whole background white. So I'm going to come here. Now this is the gradient tool, but underneath the gradient tool, if I hold it down, is the paint bucket tool. And I'm going to grab that paint bucket tool, and I know I've got white, and it's just going to fill the whole thing when I click right here. All right, I'm on layer 2. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, click. Boom. Now look, everything's white. Back to my move tool. Where did the bananas go? Well, the bananas are under those layers. They're still there, but my layer 2 was on top of layer 1 and layer 0. I want this to be the background, which means I want it to be on the bottom. So all I have to do is click on that layer, drag it down. I can drag it down one time, and now that layer is on top and that layer is on bottom, and I can't see layer 0 because this is in the way. I can drag it down one more time, and boom, there's all my bananas, and there's my white background, and I'm feeling pretty good about this. Now, the only thing left to do is to make it look like a reflection. Right now, it just looks like a banana on top of banana. So how can I get this banana to be white, to be lighter? Well, my first thought was I could use the opacity. And if I just drop the opacity down, we know it makes the banana see-through. So that would turn it white, right? Oh, no, silly me, I'm on the background layer. Let's go back to layer 1, and I'm going to do it again. There you go. And that kind of almost does what I want. But the bad thing is it makes the whole banana white. And I kind of think that at the top of the banana here, you'd see more of the reflection, and as it went away, it would get less. So that's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is another nifty little trick. I'm going to come back to my paint bucket, and this time I'm going to select my gradient tool. And my gradient tool, as you can see up here, tells me the color that the gradient is going to be. So if I was to drop this gradient right now, which I'm going to do just so you can see, it's going to make this crazy rainbow gradient. Of course, that's not what I want. I also don't want to put it onto, well, actually I kind of do. Hold on. All right. Now, I got carried away. If you click on this gradient tool here, this attribute, you can see different gradients that you can get. And you can add new gradients and you can customize gradients using this, and we'll talk more about this as we go on how to make a gradient and make them different. I just changed it to that. But if you look here, you'll see there is a preset gradient, and it is white to transparent. You can tell it's transparent because it's got those checker boxes we talked about before. So I'm going to click on that transparent, white to transparent, and then I'm going to hit OK. Now, if I start at the bottom and I drag up, when I let go, what's going to happen is the bottom is going to be white, and as it goes up to the top, it's going to go transparent because it's going white to transparent. Let's try it. Ready? Let go. Ooh, and you can see it got a little whiter here and it didn't get as white there. Now here's where it takes a little bit of like just your personal taste to decide how much white you think it should have, how much shine it should look like. Like I kind of like that right there. I might do it one more time. Another little trick while I'm doing this, by the way, is if you're holding the gradient, you can see how it kind of rotates and everything. It's not going straight up exactly. If you hit the shift key on the keyboard, it automatically will make it straight. It works the same way for sideways. It does like the 45. It does like a clock. Okay, back to work. I do one more. That might be a little too much. Let's see, Control Z. Better like that, better like that, better like that, better like that. Better like that. All right. I'm done. That's it. That's all we're going to learn today. We made our banana shine. I think the only thing I would probably do at this point is grab my crop tool. And I'm just going to bring it up there a little bit because I don't need all that white at the bottom. I added a little too much before, that extra 8 inches. So I'm just going to bring it down. So I grabbed that crop tool. I adjusted it how I want. I hit enter on the keyboard. And now I've got that banana shine. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do one more thing. I just realized it. I'm going to do one more thing. This banana kind of got a little white in here when I was doing that gradient, and that's because the gradient is, let's see if we turn it off, you can see, the gradient is actually going up into here just a little bit. So to make it look as best as it possibly could look, I'm going to take that layer 0 and put it on top. And so now it doesn't have any white, only the bottom has the white. Well, that's even better than I had it. Wow, I didn't think the banana could get any better, but it just did. Mind blown. All right, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save as shiny banana or something like that. Remember, I'm going to save it as a JPEG. You're going to do that too. Oh, I don't know what I just did there. JPEG stereo. Oh, no, what? Crazy. JPEG. All right, and then I'm going to save it, and everyone's going to be happy. And that's going to be the tutorial for today. Post it to Seesaw. See you tomorrow.